Welcome inside the studio with Hubbard Street Dancers, Chicago. Hi, I am Rennie Harris, and I'm here choreographing a piece on Hubbard Street Dancers, Chicago. Linda Denise called me to specifically create something around the history of house. Something happened, I think I was doodling and I wrote Dear or something, like I was writing a letter, and I was like, oh, here you go, Dear Frankie. So that sort of like started to shape this idea around this sort of homage to house music, Frankie Knuckles and Chicago.
I'm excited for the dancers to get a chance to experience hip hop and street dance. It's not something that has been in the repertoire, but it is contemporary dance.
They're taking this house music, this house dance, this music that was really birthed and developed here, and they're honoring it in this very special way with this very special choreographer. And it's very much so rooted in community. Community, escapism, liberation, freedom, expression of one's truest identity.
It's not just steps. It's not just passing down movement, it really is passing down a culture. The way he's passing down the choreography now, he's starting with basic movements and where those movements originated from, right? And what was happening within the culture. You know, and it's also illuminating Black culture, where hip hop and where street dance started. Rennie really understands theatricality and presenting things on a big stage.
Because what I do is street dance, this is a different process. The process is to give a lot of vocabulary, movement, to see what looks good on their body, how they translate the language. Part of shaping that work is looking at the dancers, not just in the space learning movement, but when they go on break. That's the most important part for me often, where I'm watching but they don't know I'm watching. To see how they interact with each other, who's connected, who's kind of connected, but more connected to this group. I'm looking to find those connections to feature those folk together, or folk who stand out alone. That all informs me.
I think that Rennie is really generous with his knowledge that's in his body and in his mind, and also what he's thinking of throughout the process. But it feels like we are a part of the process, not only artistically and because we're doing the choreography, but because we're also in his brain a little bit. The training was very immersive, we just were kind of dropped into everything, all the foundations, which I think really helps, because I think even though this is something that's a little familiar to me, it's not familiar to everyone. There are some people who have never taken a house class.
I would describe the movement language subtle, groovy, fast. It can be full energy, full body, but it's more internalizing, and trying to get the audience to dig deeper into that.
Hip hop is an American art form. It's a contemporary art form that deserves celebration. I really hope that the audience will join in as we celebrate house, and celebrate the house culture of Chicago, and really get into and appreciate hip hop as an art form.
I hope the audience sees the joy that we're bringing to the stage, and I hope they want to join us on stage. I hope they have that feeling of, oh, I want to go do that. I want to do what they're doing.
I really hope there's head bobs, I really hope that people are in it and we make them feel something similar to what we're feeling in that moment, because it's so internal and so spirited and so personal. I think that everybody can relate to that.
What I hope for them is completely spiritual. What I would like if people just had an experience, and through that experience, be it good or bad, have a conversation. And the conversation is the thing. It's not the result of the conversation, it's the conversation, right? That's the thing that gets people to begin to think critically. And hopefully you get to look into my world, what I grew up with, and if you have questions, begin to question those and have conversation with each other.